What TV show started off terrible but got a lot better later on? Star Trek TNG. It wasn't bad, but the Rose family on Schitt's Creek was pretty unlikable in Season 1. I had to convince a couple of friends to stick with it because the reward of seeing all those people grow was fabulous. I don't begrudge anyone who passes on a show where people say you gotta get past the first 6 episodes, but it's absolutely worth it for BoJack Horseman. Spartacus started off as a low-budget 300. As the first season went on, they figured out how to do fights in their own style, and the actual story got really good. Better Call Saul started off slow for me, but then I really got into it, especially with all the Mexican cartel stuff. The difference in quality between the beginning and the end of Star Wars, The Clone Wars, is staggering. Went from being the worst part of the Star Wars franchise to arguably the best part. Legends of Tomorrow, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Person of Interest, and Black Sails are a few other examples, although they were all decent enough to start with. Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It was cursed by having to do Monster of the Week episodes for the first half of the season. Then Captain America, The Winter Soldier happened, and it tied in with the show and everything changed. Black Mirror. That first episode, it's out there. Parks and Rec felt like a total Office ripoff until it found its footing. Blackadder Season 1 is a steaming dog turd in comparison to every other season after it. With each season, Edmund Blackadder loses rank and status, but gets smarter and more cunning. It's Always Sunny in Philly. It wasn't bad at first, but it took them a while to find their feet and work out exactly what it was trying to be. If I remember right, I think Dennis admitted in the podcast that the turning point was around Season 3 when things just started clicking. Star Trek The Next Generation. It was not exactly terrible, but it was less consistently good at first. It really hit its stride in Season 3. Dirk Gently took me a few episodes to understand what the heck was going on. The addition of Danny DeVito to the cast in Season 2 made that show. Babylon 5. Season 1 is painful, so painful, and it's aged terribly, but it turns into some of the best science fiction ever televised. BoJack Horseman gets much better in the later seasons. Ozark had a slow start, but it gained momentum with its intense storytelling and compelling performances. The first handful of Expanse episodes can be a real struggle to get through. The early detective stuff is boring AF. I've known several people who gave up on that show before coming back and forcing their way through those first episodes. DC Legends of Tomorrow started off as a copy of The Flash in the first season. After that, the writers realized it would be more fun to just do LSD and see what funky things they can come up with. It didn't start off bad per se, and it's genuinely my favorite show of all time, but the first few episodes of True Blood were hard to get into until you accepted it for what it was. Goofy, horny vampires with awful southern accents.